This program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections. Yes, welcome to Racing Action Today talk series. And tonight we have a very special guest who is a vintage car racer and classic car restorer. I want you to know Michael Donnelly. Michael,
nice
so glad to have you here tonight.
It's a pleasure.
And I'm not going to kid you, the vintage car racing has always been a favorite thing of mine. And I watched you out there. You look like you're having fun.
I am having fun. This year, at Lime Rock in particular, I had a lot of fun. My car performed really well. Mm-hmm. And my transponder stopped working. So they couldn't time me, which means I can make up any time I want.
Oh, wow. Oh, my dear, that was different. Now, that's the number 46 Alfa Romeo.
That's right. It's a
red car? Yeah.
Red car. It's a 1974 Alfa Romeo GTV.
Well, they're sought after cars, am I thinking?
They've gone up in value quite a bit. This particular car I've owned for close to 20 years. It started out as a nice driver and just took a natural evolution into becoming a race car.
Well, you started driving fast on the road and said, you know what, there's got to be more to this, right?
There's a lot of aftermarket performance parts available for those cars to really bring them to life. And
I'll be honest, they always interested me. Mm-hmm. That particular model, but you can't find them. I mean, they're hard to find, and they're very expensive. Let me tell you.
Very expensive. In recent years, a company in the UK called Alphaholics has really branded their own bespoke performance parts and have started to develop what they call GTA-R, which is a performance version of that car.
Wow.
And they're very expensive. They currently have a 9-year waiting list, I believe, and you supply the car, and they'll build you one of their cars for $390,000.
Oh, is that all?
That's all.
Now, the question I have, did you start racing as a young kid? Did you do go-kart race stuff, or what? How did this all start?
Yeah, as a young kid, I actually used go-karts. I didn't race go-karts. I had always been interested in racing, and my dad and I watched Formula One when I was young. Mm-hmm. He restored cars himself, even though he was a physician.
Oh, wow.
And kind of gave me the bug. When I had the opportunity to actually get into racing, I took advantage of it.
So you started vintage racing. Was your first venture really into racing?
No, actually I raced SCCA first.
Oh, okay.
So my very good friend Peter Lombardo has a much longer race history than I do, and he convinced me that I would be good enough to race. And
okay, yeah.
So
I know Peter.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Ferrari guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's an Alpha guy too.
Yeah.
So I joined SCCA, prepped my car, and started in 2018, and wound up winning the New England region for my class.
Now, what class did you race in?
E-production.
E-production, okay.
Yep. And, it was a question of reliability and speed and, showing up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hey, Lime Rock is a real special place. It's kind of a momentum track. If you lose momentum, you're going to the back.
And my car is a momentum car.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a high horsepower car at all, but it handles very well.
Yes. Yes, they like nimble cars.
That's right. That's right. And my car especially likes the S's. I don't think, I think I surprised some more powerful cars through the S's.
Yes. Yeah. Over the years, we've taped cars going through that area. My cameraman used to be right there where the the official there, with the track guy there, right where you see him. That's where we used to tape going through the S.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And,
right near one of the stations. Okay.
Yes. The track worker.
Flagging station.
Yeah. And it was always a favorite place of mine because we got to look at the car close and then going away. You know, it was very good there, I'll tell you. Favorite place, I'm not going to kid you. That, Lime Rock, favorite place of mine.
Well, I went there as a young boy with my dad quite often because he was track physician for some of the Ferrari events and through friends. And it was an amazing thing to be a part of.
Yes,
I got hooked.
Imagine.
Then I started bringing my sons there later in life, and I never thought I'd actually race there. I never thought I'd vintage race there.
You know, you just never know.
That's right.
I have two sons. One of them actually has two Datsun 510s. And he autocrosses them. But he keeps talking about, you know what, maybe it's time to go out and do some vintage racing.
That was the arch enemy of Alfa Romeo in the Trans Am races.
Well, Bob Sharp and the history there.
John Morton.
Yeah. And Paul Newman. That's where he started, you know.
That's
where he started.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that your whole deal is this Lime Rock. Have you ever gone to different tracks?
I have. I've done most of the tracks in the East, and then I ventured as far south as Road America and Sebring.
Oh, wow.
Sebring was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's flat though, huh?
It's bumpy.
Yeah.
You know, it's an old airport, so.
Yeah, we went out there for an event, and I couldn't believe I said I drove for miles, and all of a sudden, in the middle of nowhere, they get this place. You know, it's hard to believe that in the history there.
Yeah, it's really it's a great event. We go to the 12 hours every year. So.
Yeah, I mean the Trans Am people. That's where it started.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, I can't tell you how many times I watch the original Trans Am race on YouTube. I just get such a kick out of it, you know?
Yeah.
So you went there, you went Road America or no?
Road America, yep, in Atlanta. That was a really interesting track. You know, in order to prep for an unfamiliar track, I'll actually use the Xbox, and I have a seat and a steering wheel, and it was very true to life. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Because when I got there, I was prepared.
You were ready.
I was ready for everything except the hill under the bridge. That's scary.
Oh yeah. Hey, you know, every track's got its spot. You know?
That's right.
You know, I remember my son, who owns the 510s, actually lived in Chicago for 5 years, and so one year he says to me, let's go to, what do you call the America? What do you call that? Not Road America, is it?
COTA, Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, in Wisconsin there.
Oh no, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, America, Road in America.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
I mean, it's a huge.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was at Road Atlanta.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, Road America. Yeah. This track, Mike, is 4 miles long for one lap.
Oh boy.
So he says, I got a treat for you when we get there. You know, I'm with my wife, and of course his wife was there, and he says, and we brought two cars, which I couldn't figure out. Why did we bring two cars, you know? Well, one of his cars was the Datsun S2000.
Ooh.
Nice car.
Yeah.
And he said, we're going on the racetrack today with this car, and you're going to drive it, not as a racer, but just to, you know, do some laps. Let me tell you something. How those people know where they are on this racetrack is just beyond me.
Right.
I mean, 4 miles long, and this way, that way, up the hill, down the hill. I mean, oh my dear.
It's a question of focus. If you lose focus on the racetrack, you're gonna wind up in trouble.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt it. I mean, I was at awe by it, you know. And it was a wonderful vintage event that day, and And then we had to find a place to sleep, and of course you couldn't find a hotel. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Nothing. I had to end up going, I think, to Sheboygan. I don't know what, right by the lake.
Never been.
Right near the.
Okay.
I don't know what it cost us that night. Probably $500 for a room, you know. But it was fun. We had a fun time then. So how long you been doing the vintage racing?
Since, let's see, in 2019, I started vintage racing. So it was right after I did the SCCA New England region. I won that, and then decided that I would like to do vintage racing because it's a little more relaxed. It's not as officious.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's, you know, who wins, wins. You know what I mean?
That's
it's not an important thing.
Now, the car preparation is really important still, as is the technical inspection. They take all that very seriously.
Oh, I know. They have to.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So they take that very seriously, just like SCCA and the other organizations. Yeah.
And good. I mean, I find these organizations are very good, all of them. You know, have you ever gone to Thompson?
Yes.
Yeah,
I like Thompson.
Like it?
Oh yeah, I remember that's the only track where I beat Peter Lombardo.
Oh, is that right? Oh my dear.
It was raining out, and my car does very well in the rain.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it was a fun track. It's a little scary at places because there's not a lot of track out, but really enjoyed the uphills and, you know, the almost corkscrew coming back down off the hill.
There's some interesting corners there, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, we covered the first vintage car race there. Since they, you know, you remember the old track years ago, they redid now, everything's new, and we covered that first race, you know, at that track, and I was just amazed by it. I mean, these cars were
right. So we're talking
around.
Thompson. Yeah, I was referring to Palmer. I got confused. But the Thompson, you know, the old track actually went through the woods there.
Oh yeah.
On the other side of the
old track. They had a name for it.
Oh, I can't remember.
Something Briar or something. I can't remember the old track's name.
So, you know, Roger Barr works for me now, and I went to Thompson a couple of years ago to their vintage festival, and the author of a 2-volume book was there with the entire history of the track.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Roger features prominently throughout the book because in '69 he won the SCCA championship.
I'm going to tell you, I love that man.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy.
Just to listen to him talk.
Oh, yeah. He keeps us laughing all day.
Oh, my dear. I used to, when he was with Wayne there, I used to laugh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's a great guy.
But he was good in his day, boy.
He was very good. You know, he gave me one tip at Lime Rock, and it took a second off my lap time.
Oh, wow.
Just like that.
Well, you know, he knew.
He knew exactly.
I had no idea he worked for
And I'm not going to publicize it because I don't want to let anybody else know.
You don't, they'll be giving you a hard time, right?
But he really knows his stuff. He knows how to prep the cars, how to eke out all the power, and he was a great driver. What
was it, like Formula Ford or something? What was his deal?
He did Crossley mostly. I think in '69, I think he won that championship in a Crossley.
Okay.
He actually was kind of the test pilot for the Crossleys. They would send him over to Ireland.
Oh wow!
To test out the cars.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you imagine? Huh?
Yeah.
Jeez, what a history there, huh?
Yeah.
Did that ever intrigue you to want to drive an open wheel car?
I'm looking for an open wheel car.
You're kidding me.
No.
Like a Formula Ford or?
You know, I'm thinking, I'm an Alfa Romeo guy, so I think, I read the regulations, I believe that Formula Atlantic would allow a 4-cylinder twin-cam Alfa engine
in
an open wheel car. So I'd like to do that.
you know, they have these, what do they call them, the junior formulas?
Yeah.
In the Spangolini. Huh? I used to like them little cars, I'll tell you.
Roger says this. He calls them the Strangolini, and they.
Is that right?
Yeah, he said that as they go down the track, they lose parts everywhere.
Oh, my dear. I had no idea that he worked for you. I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he works for me. We're actually friends, right?
Yeah.
And he's just a wealth of knowledge and still a very skillful mechanic.
Oh, yeah. So, out of all the places you've gone, vintage racing, where do you like the most?
I like Lime Rock.
Yeah.
I like Lime Rock. You can if you do it right, one lap you're thrilled, and then the next lap you're like, how did I mess that up? Where did I go wrong?
Yeah.
You have to really be focused and get it right.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I used to get the biggest kick out of these people would go, down the Newman Strait, they name now, and get to that hill and fly right off, go in the air, right?
That's right.
Literally, I mean, when you go, you can hear the motor rev, right?
Even my little car, it's a momentum car. Yeah, the back wheels will come loose at the top of that hill.
Yeah. Recently, we covered an event there was very interesting. It was called Grid Life, where they race these cars. Most of them are Asian cars, like Hondas and all this. And there's a class they call Sunday Cup. And I said, geez, what is that? And they said, well, we race, these cars have to have a 25 pound per horsepower limit on, the, what do you call it, the handicap. You had to be, the ratio had to be 25, I said, well, who the hell fits in that? So, number one, I said, if you got a big horsepower car, the car would have to weigh 10,000 pounds,
Right.
And he said, he said, Honda fit in it perfect. I said, why is that? He said, they're about 100 horsepower, and they fit perfect in a class. In cars like Mazda 2, stuff like that.
It's a great entry into racing.
So anyway, here I am covering the event, and I'm interviewing these kids. Most of them, I call them kids. And they said, Larry, if we get you in one of these cars, you will not want to get out. I said, oh, really? So I'm talking, and my wife's with me filming, right? Next thing I know, she says to me, I could do this.
That's good.
And I said, you know what? We just may do that.
Good.
Because, Honda car, I mean, the motors in the Hondas, they're like bulletproof.
Yeah, they are.
Hard to believe, but they are.
Yeah, they are.
And this motor in this fit, it's like 1.5 liter.
Yeah.
I mean, they're tiny.
Yeah.
So we had such a great time with those kids. And then I did interview some of the modified people. I mean, they fly around that place.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
And what really impressed me, though, is they go all over the country with this event.
It's a series, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, you name it, they're there.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, this past week, they were at Laguna Seca.
Wow.
And I said, oh, my dear, the only problem here, I don't know. And then what really got me nuts, half of these people I'm interviewing driving the car through the event. I said, where are you from? Oh, we're from Holland, Michigan. I said, you drove the car here? How long did it take you? 12 hours.
Yeah. Why not?
And then it was a girl. Her name was Becky. I said to her, I said, how do you like Lime Rock? Oh, we love this. Matter of fact, on the way here, going through your area here, this racetrack is like your terrain.
Yeah.
I thought that was so kind of interesting.
Right, right.
And, but we had a great time, and I hope in the future we could do something with that.
Yeah, sure.
You know?
Sure. Lime Rock this year, I know you missed it. That's too bad.
I missed the year.
Lawrence Oriana brought a collection of his cars, like a small, well, there are probably 15, 20 cars. And these are cars driven by all kinds of famous race drivers from the 30s through the
Wow.
80s. And
Wow.
yeah, I mean, Surtees, all kinds of famous cars.
I mean, let me tell you, I've seen them up there. I've seen Corvette Grand Sports that they're priceless.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Collier collection?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Collier.
they used to
Yeah.
bring cars up. Wow,
Yeah, and Joe Colasaco does most of the driving for Lawrence Ariana to keep the cars in shape.
In shape,
right?
yeah.
It's like a stable of horses, and
My God, huh? Isn't that something?
he's a talented driver, and the cars that he's driving are priceless.
Priceless. Oh yeah. It always astounded me, when I'm interviewing people up there. They're driving $1 million cars and rubbing. I say, I don't know about you rubbing fenders you're going to be doing with this car, but they're very different. I found vintage people, racers, are very different.
Yeah.
They think different. Yeah. It's not the same.
Yeah. It can get exciting on track, but before and after, everybody's friends.
Oh yeah, there's no slam bang in it.
Oh no.
They won't put up with it.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all.
No. I mean, I've seen a few accidents there. Hey, it's going to happen, but not many.
Right. Right.
And now in the winter, is there any activity with you with this?
No. In the spring, we'll go back to Sebring. This year, we will bring my Alpha, but we're also bringing another car that is not quite vintage. So it's a kind of a special build out of a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And but mostly the winter is preparation and
you get the car
rebuilding things.
Yeah.
That's right.
Let's go through things. Oh yeah, I'll tell you, it's a very pretty car.
Thank you.
I've seen it, and I've seen you drive it too. You know what you're doing. I'll tell you, I've seen you drive this car.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. And we want to do more vintage stuff beyond Lime Rock, because no matter where you go, the track has got something interesting. I always wanted to go to Virginia.
VIR.
I heard a lot about that. Mid-Ohio.
Yeah.
This vintage thing, since I started over 20 years ago, has really evolved, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would like to do more vintage racing, but unfortunately, I started this business, and it was supposed to allow me to do more vintage racing, and the opposite has happened. I'm just so busy now that I can only go to a couple of events a year.
Yeah, well, that's what usually happens. I mean, I have to say, your company, Paddock Classic Car Restoration, is really special. I've been there. I've seen some of your work. I mean, it really is special.
Thank you.
And we're glad you're here. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And it's really evolved, this classic cars, and I mean, you don't pay to have money in the bank, Mike.
That I know.
You're better off putting that thing into a car, and it's gonna.
As long as it's the right car.
It's gonna. For years I argue with my wife, and her family, her mother. They used to say, "What are you buying these cars?" I had Z28s.
Yeah.
Finally, it's really a strange story. I bought a Cosworth Vega, of all things. I don't know if you know what they are?
I do know what they are. Yeah, sure.
It was a very rare car. It was metallic red, because most of them were black or white. Most. And the car had 700 miles. Hey, it was in Ohio, and I don't know if you remember, there was a period in time where in Ohio there was a problem with the banks. There was something with the banks, and people couldn't get their money out of the banks.
Yeah.
So somehow this guy says to me, Larry, I'm backed up to the wall. I got to sell this car. I said, you know what? I'm not even going to go see it. Bring it here and I'll buy it. And he did.
Okay.
He showed up on the trailer and I bought the car.
Yeah.
So we get the car and I keep it at my house. I had built a house in Berlin and we had like a 2-car garage with a stall in the back for working on cars, really. And that's where I left it. But of course, I had 2 sons, you know, starting to get older and older.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm hearing, oh, we want to drive the Cosworth,
Yeah.
you know. I said, oh boy, here we go. So, because I could just envision, I said, for a first car, this is not going to be a good thing, you know.
Well, I'll tell you a secret. When I was 14, my father had a red Alfa Romeo GTV, like my race car, right? His daily driver, a 74, same year as mine.
Yeah.
When I was 14, I'd get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and push it out of the driveway and jump start it down the hill.
Wow, my dear. Wow.
Yeah.
That is special. Anyway, I sold this car, and then a light bulb went off my wife's head. Holy Christ, you sold this car for like double the money you paid for it.
Yeah.
And I said, I told you, it's better than money in the bank, you know. Well, as we're having fun, Michael, time flies, and we're going to have to conclude with tonight's show.
Okay.
I want to thank everybody for watching, and Michael, you were outstanding.
Thank you.
And I hope to get up to Lime Rock to see you race some more.
Yeah, we'll
And
put
I'm
you in the
sure-
passenger seat.
And the viewers will be watching too.
All right, great.
Thank you for watching the show tonight, and tune in next week to Racing Action Today. This program is brought to you in part by Just Results Weight Loss Center in Berlin, Connecticut.
Follow us on Instagram at nutmeg.tv.